All right, family, so in this video, we want to talk about something that we know a lot of people are dealing with. Many people wonder, how important is loyalty and trust in your marriage, or even just in your relationship? And honestly, I think trust is the most important thing for you to have in your relationship. To me personally, I feel that without trust, your marriage can never work. Your relationship can never work. In no way, shape, or form are you going to have a successful, happy, beautiful, passionate, love-filled marriage without trust. Because if there's no trust between the husband and the spouse and the wife, then there's going to be so many complications and problems, especially if there's no trust right from the get-go, right from the beginning of when you started dating and courting, and especially of the marriage itself. So in this video, we're going to tell you a little bit on what some of the things that we implement into our marriage, and what you can do in order to implement in your life and in your relationship. Or if you're single, then how to do this in the future. So how important is loyalty and trust? Well, like I said, without it, it'll make or break your relationship. So you absolutely need it. And in our marriage, have we always had trust in our marriage? Yes. Just in case you said no. Yes, we've always had trust in our marriage because we always feel that it's important for us to be loyal.
We always had trust because of that open communication we talked about.
100%.
We were always, I'm really honest with him, and he is too when it comes to certain subjects that are probably a little sensitive to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to be really open about everything else. So being open and communicating that well, that's helped us build trust.
Right.
If we didn't have that open communication, there would be a lot of things that would be hidden from each
Right.
other. So then I would be like,
And there would be a lot of
Right. I'll be like, who's texting you on, dumb little things, who's texting you on Instagram? Oh, who's that? I just saw that you follow this person or whatever it is. It would be dumb
and
little
you become
things.
overly obsessive.
Yeah.
See, we're not even talking about jealousy. That's a whole nother video. We're talking about if there's no trust in your marriage, your relationship will be over. Because, and I'm not saying if the trust was broken and, perhaps somebody, for whatever reason, the trust was broken, you can always rebuild trust. I'm one man, I truly believe in forgiveness. And you could rebuild that and, reestablish that trust. But it's important that you understand how important trust is, especially if it hasn't been broken yet. But if there is no trust, and many people wonder, well, what does that actually mean? Well, if you don't have trust in your marriage, here's some of the things that you may be doing. If you don't trust your spouse, like my wife said, perhaps you're on their Instagram or on their social media, and you're swiping and you're wondering, well, this is what my husband is like, this is what my wife is liking, she's liking this, what are they looking at, who are they texting, who's messaging them, I need to look at their social media, I have to see every picture that they liked, I have to see every conversation that they're having, I have to take their phone and read all of their text messages, who are they texting, make sure they're not messaging any girls or anything like that, or being overly obsessive and controlling, or even just seeing who are they calling, who's calling them, what voicemails, where are they going, let me check their GPS tracking location, where are they, when are they going there?
That sounds so tiring.
It just sounds exhausting,
Oh
even just me saying it. But
just talking to each other,
Right.
that can solve the whole trust issue.
And remember, we always say, seek and you shall find. So if you're looking for trouble, you're looking for a reason not to trust your spouse, you will find it every single time something that they didn't do correctly, right? So if you're looking, I just want to make sure that my wife isn't doing anything that she shouldn't be doing. I just want to make sure that my husband isn't doing anything that he shouldn't be doing. Well, if you look, you're gonna find one text, one message, one like, one follow, something, and so much of the time it's a misunderstanding.
And then your spouse is gonna feel like, so now she's my mom? What am I? This is my mom and I'm her son, or
then I gotta take you as your wife.
Spouse. Yeah, what are you, babysitting me now?
Overly
am I a little
controlling.
kid now? Why are you telling me what to do? It's not even gonna. He's not even gonna want to come home, or she is gonna feel like you're babysitting me and you're criticizing every little thing I do. I don't even have a life now.
Right.
So it's not good. That's not gonna build any trust.
If you feel like you'd be happier single than married, then there's a problem in your life. There's a problem in your relationship or your marriage. because you should always feel, oh man, I'm so happy, I'm so much more happier, with my partner because I feel that they fulfill all of these needs and wants and desires and energy and passions and love that you didn't have before when you were single. And I'm not saying you can't have that while you're single if you are watching this. But in your marriage, your mate should be doing more for you than if you didn't have them, right? They should be increasing the quality of your life. And if they're not, then there's a problem there. And one of the reasons why they may be decreasing the quality of your relationship or your energy or your happiness is because there is no trust. So our strongest statement that we'll say in this video is that if you are courting and you haven't got married yet, and there's no trust between you and your partner, either try to fix that, try to rebuild that trust, and if you truly can, then I truly believe that you should call off that relationship. No longer be with them, because once you go down the path of being married and still no trust and believe, you do not want a relationship of everything that I just said earlier, where they're checking where you are, who you're texting, who you're calling, who your voicemail.
You might as well be alone.
Right.
I mean, at that point.
That's going to be so stressful and detrimental to not even just your marriage, but your health.
It's like another job for you.
Right.
Like, if you're going to be doing all
like
that.
they're your manager. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want somebody who's a control freak and they're looking into everything that you're doing, everyone that you're going.
You don't want somebody that bring you down. You want
It's
somebody
too
that
much.
upbuild you.
Right.
And that's why you have the other person.
Right.
Because they compliment you. They
Right.
make you better.
Right.
You don't want somebody that makes you feel worse
Right.
or doesn't upbuild you. Like, you
Right.
do not want that.
And they may not necessarily be going through your Instagram, going through, who you're calling, who you're texting. One of the ways, and this is something to look for, right? Perhaps they haven't even gotten to that extent yet. Perhaps you're just dating at this point, and they haven't had the opportunity to go through your phone, see who you're texting, who you're calling, track your GPS location, all of these things. And if they ever did do that, you shouldn't have anything to hide. So you should have the confidence to say, hey, you want to check whatever you want, always feel free to do so. I have nothing to hide. Yeah, like, you shouldn't have anything to hide. So you should have the confidence if they ever did do that, that you'd have nothing to hide. But they should never have to do that because you have such strong, real trust. That's real trust. They should never have to go through any of your text messages, phone, see who you like and who you follow, all that stuff because they trust you.
They should be able to leave
And
their
if they're-
phone right there while you shower.
And if you're doing that
or
to your
whatever it
spouse, then you have a trust issue. And that needs to be resolved right away, 100% right away. But what I was saying earlier, one of the kind of things to look for while you're dating is the questions that they ask you. So if your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your fiance is asking you, kind of, and it depends on the intent and the tonality of the question, but who are you hanging out with today? Where'd you go tonight? What were you doing? Who'd you call tonight? Who did you just get off the phone with? Who are you texting? If they're asking you these kind of questions,
that should already be a clue.
that should be a
red
bing,
flag.
bing, bing, bing,
Red
just
flag.
lighting off in your head, just straight bulbs going off like, hey, I don't think they trust me. And the first thing you need to ask yourself before you come at them, before you start screaming, well, you don't trust me, before you accuse them or any of that, ask yourself, is this something that I am doing personally that gives them reason not to trust me? Remember, questions direct your focus. So you can ask yourself, what else does this mean?
And
How can I learn from this?
But our immediate response is blame the other person.
It's defense.
It's like, oh, then they have the problem.
They have an issue, not me.
Right.
I'm doing everything fine.
So, but we have to be humble and examine ourselves.
Start
and
with
see,
your
what am I doing?
before you presumptuously accuse them, because perhaps they're asking you, who'd you get off the phone with? What were you doing? Who were you with? All those kind of questions. Or they're going through your phone and all this kind of stuff. If any of that is happening, more than likely, maybe not. Maybe they're just a controlling person. But more than likely, they probably have a reason for it. So if they feel they don't trust you, I'm not saying that trust can't be rebuilt. Because you can do the extreme of extremes, and trust can, I've seen it before, trust has been rebuilt, and they truly trust each other again. But perhaps you're doing something, where you're hiding something. You're acting sketchy, where you're not being honest, or have you lied to them before? Are you being dishonest with your spouse?
Sometimes it's not even you. That's why it's important to find out about their previous relationship.
Right? Or they had issues before. That's
or their past.
That's fire.
So sometimes somebody did something to them, so
Right.
they have trust issues.
Right.
And it's not you.
Right.
But it's if you love that person, it's something you work together. Okay, she doesn't trust me because of her previous relationships. Let me send
Right.
her a text telling her I'm here.
Right.
Let me tell her I'm doing this. You know, it's probably something that makes
And
you
that's
feel
one of those things to
uncomfortable,
find out
make
before you get in love.
But it's probably something that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable because you love that person, and it's just their natural response because of what they went through.
Right.
You'll understand, and you'll help them build trust
Right.
towards you.
And you have to be open and communicate with them and let them know, you know, if that is something that you don't enjoy. Me personally, I would not enjoy that. So if my wife had that issue with a previous, you know, relationship where he cheated on her, or you know, had committed adultery with somebody on my wife, if that happened before, and she felt, you know, hey, it's not you, Ryan, you haven't done anything in particular, I have trust issues. You'll hear a lot of people say that sometimes. And if that's the case, you have to openly communicate and let them know, hey, that's fine, I understand, and I'll deal with it. Me personally, I wouldn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, but you don't know that because you don't know how you feel towards that person. But normally,
But
if
you have to
do
communicate
love
with
that
them and let
person-
them know.
No, obviously they're gonna feel uncomfortable,
Right.
Because it's something different to them. I didn't do anything to you. Why are you acting that way?
Right.
But it's something that if you love that person, you're willing to work with them.
Right, and that's the thing, exactly what she said. So that's what I mean. You gotta let them know, hey, I understand you had trust issues before in your prior relationship with a man or woman. Whether you're speaking to your wife or you're the wife speaking to your husband, I understand you had trust issues before, and that's understandable. I know you're not saying you don't trust me, it's just you have trust issues. But hey, this is how it makes me feel when yada yada yada. When you go through my Instagram, when you go through my phone, when you question me and ask me who was I with, who was I hanging out with, what did I talk about, who am I texting, who am I calling, I feel like you're presumptuously accusing me of doing something that's unfaithful, and that makes me feel uncomfortable, and I really don't enjoy that. I would, you know, really appreciate it if you asked me, you know, maybe not a you know, drastic change, but you know, try to ask me less questions. Try to show that you trust me. I know you had trust issues in the past, but try to show me that you trust me.
But if they don't ask you questions,
and try to make progress.
But if they don't ask you questions, if you love that person again, you take the step and you say, hey, I just made it. You don't want to be like, you know, they're your parent, but to help them out, say, hey, you know, I was just here, I was doing this before they even ask. And I went out with
right. So try to build that trust. You know what I mean? Because eventually they'll get to the point where they don't have to go through your phone. They don't have to, you know, do all those things.
And it's not gonna happen overnight.
That's what I'm saying.
It's gonna take time.
So have the hope and faith that, you know, things will change. And if that's something that you can personally put up with, then, you know, give it a leap of faith. And hopefully they will build the trust, you know, over time, and they won't have to, you know, question you on a regular basis. And if you give them a shot and it doesn't change, and they continually, you know, are controlling, super overly controlling, then if you can deal with that and you truly love them, then hey, that's you. If not, then call off the relationship. Because I truly believe without trust in a relationship, your relationship will never work. Because it's not going to be enjoyable for them, and it's most certainly not going to be enjoyable for the person who's being accused of doing something on a regular basis when they're not doing anything wrong. So just hopefully some value for you guys. We know how important is trust and open communication in your relationship, and loyalty. Well, it means everything. You need to be loyal to your spouse. Without it, you know, your relationship will fall apart. So don't think about it. And we're going to use loyalty in another video on why it's important to stay loyal to your spouse, and kind of a different subject on how you can remain loyal to your spouse. All right, family. Well, hopefully you enjoyed some the content that we're trying our best to deliver.
Please
we love you guys.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with others.
Yes,
We
and definitely
appreciate
comment
your
below
comments.
any of your learnings that you got from this video, any of your big takeaways.
All right,
All right, family. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.